It's Friday and we're going live, and I'm cleaning out my phone here. There you go. We can notice. Let's see if we get a notice. Is it going to work? My daughter. Is it going to work? Hey, we're live. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Hope you're doing well. It's about 6:44. This is the 420th episode of our show, and I'm waiting to see if we get a notification on my phone. Because if you ring the little bell, then you get noticed when we go live or do stuff. And it is Friday. Am I getting a notice yet? It'll probably come a little bit. We'll see. Anyway, I've been noticing that YouTube is having troubles lately. I was watching one of the episodes from the other day, and because I like to go see what I said and remind me not to do what I did already. And it was all kind of like catchy, spotchy, whatever, on the broadcast. So it was kind of disappointing. So I don't know if it was the feed I was getting through last night when I was looking at it, or if it was the original recording of the video. Most of the recordings have been pretty good, though. Been pretty solid, so I don't know what it is. Anyway, happy Friday. This is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and we're here to talk about Agile and Scrum in a practical, tactical way. So I know it's a Friday, a little bit later than normal, but I got my priority stuff done first, got rid of the trash, took care of all that because I can hear the trash man going around the neighborhood. So it was a good thing got that done. And we do this so that we can bring value to the customer, right? Help you bring some value. Get home to family and friends so you can enjoy your weekend versus working all weekend long. Have a little fun, not work 60, 80 hours a week, and be productive and feel like you got something done and move on to the next thing, right? So you can pivot and do some new fun stuff because you got work done. So that's why we talk about the show, try to give ideas, thoughts to help everybody get to that point. Still haven't. Oh, there it is. It was a quiet notice. So I got the notice, as you can see, but I don't know why I didn't get it. Usually it gets a little bing or a ring or sounds not muted. But anyway, got the notice, and it says we were on at 6:44 a.m. 2 minutes ago. Okay, maybe it was quiet because it would sneak in because I didn't do the alarm on or as soon as you started. So we'll do it that way. So what are we going to talk about today? So I want to talk about Agile marketing. Sat on a session the other day I don't know if it was a pharmaceutical or medical, and they had a marketing department that they went Agile, and the lady who ran the company, transformed everything into an Agile way of running her marketing department, which I thought was pretty cool. So I want to talk about that, my thoughts on an Agile marketing department. Then I also want to talk about velocity because I had a discussion the other day with somebody, and the idea of what velocity was a little bit different from someone who observes on the outside and really doesn't understand the process, maybe. But I also want to clarify to other people that may not totally understand where. I'll give you the example. The part of the velocity was time it takes to get a feature done, but that's not velocity. So I want to talk about that so everybody understands. And we're going to do Fortune Cookie Friday. Yay! So we're going to do Fortune Cookie Friday, where the Agile accountants have wrapped in a super secret plastic sealed and cookie sealed message in here that tells us something about Agile that we have to talk about during today's show. So we'll do that too. And we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to check make sure there's no humidity on the camera. I think we're good. All right, so let's go. Let's talk. Let's get going. Because it's Friday. It's almost, I got to take the kids to the bus soon. We don't have much time. Wow, 6:48. Agile marketing. So when you do Scrum, and when you want to run a Scrum team in a different group, you're not always going to use the same methodology and thought process for identifying stories and workload that you normally would do with software. It's going to change a little bit, so you have to be flexible for that. So here's some of the things, talking about work-wise. Well, if you want to talk about velocity, because we're going to talk about velocity next. So some stories that you might put work that you're doing. Maybe there's a lot of simple one-point stories like, number of cold calls, emails, reach out, stuff that marketing departments do. They go out there and interface with the customer. Maybe they have a quota or something they do every sprint. That's a very simple, not a complex. They just do it. Maybe those are just 1-point stories, right? So that's some way you can track that. Then there's maybe more complex stuff that goes along with that during your sprint. If you do a 2-week sprint, maybe you do a 1-month sprint. Probably should do a 2-week sprint, if not shorter, if you're in a marketing department, because if your competition changes what you're doing, you don't have much time to change what you're doing. So your sprint line time should get smaller, probably a week, to be honest with you. Developing a new campaign. That may be more complex, and that may need the whole team, which is more classic Scrum, where we're going to develop a new campaign to put something out, a new piece of artifact, a new piece of material, and it may take, a bunch of people on the team to get it together. So here's a story, you have it, you complex it, maybe it's a 5 or something, or 6 or 8. Well, Fibonacci, 5 or 8, right? But it has more people involved, and it just takes more time to get that done. So some of the thoughts I think about different types of marketing stories that if you were doing an Agile or a Scrum-based marketing team, real simple stuff, cold calls, stuff you do every day, that'd probably be 1-point stories because they're not complex nor risky. You just do it. And then more in the riskier, more complex thing would be a new marketing campaign where you want to get a lot of people involved. Maybe you're running a focus group or something like that. Say, hey, we're going to run a focus group and see what they want. We got some ideas in that whole sprint. We'll do a focus group. So maybe you do the stuff that's in the book, The Sprint, which I wish I had a copy of, which I show you, which you have 1 week to get everything out. So that's what I'm going to cover about that. Just some ideas to give you to think about that. It was funny. Yesterday we brought up the micromanaging thing, and I just kind of want to mention this. And later on, I did that Agile Philly Lean coffee group. Do you know what they brought up? They brought up micromanagers. What's the odds of that? And I didn't bring it up. It wasn't me. I really didn't talk about it. It wasn't my idea. It wasn't on my paper. I didn't submit it as a conversation point. But I thought it was ironic that I brought that up during the show episode yesterday, how to deal with micromanagers, came up with some soft ideas, some hard-nosed ideas for working with micromanagers. And lo and behold, during the Lean Coffee, we talked about micromanagers. What's the odds of that, right? So now velocity, because I got to get going because I got to get the kids out. So we got to get going. So I'm going to record this thing and move along. Maybe we'll just do Fortune Cookie Friday. I don't know. No, let's talk about velocity a little bit. So there was a question someone's brought up and described velocity as the time it takes to get features done, a method you use to do that. And I'm like, well, no, it's not. It's not a time to get work done. The velocity is how much work you get done in a time box. Now, that priority list of stuff could be multiple projects, multiple events, depends on your priorities. And they were saying, well, it helps you determine how long it's going to take to get a feature done. Well, actually, no, it does not. And I just want to make that clarity because there's so many factors involved when you're going to get the feature done. It's also about priorities. If a higher priority comes on, then that feature you want may not get done for later in the date because you're always rearranging your priorities during the sprint. So velocity is the measure of how much work you can get done in a sprint, which could be multiple features being done, right? It's not one feature. So you can be working on 5 features, 1 feature, any combination thereof, depending on how your team is. And the priority of getting those little pieces done for that, maybe you want to get a feature, start one sprint and work it through a couple of sprints. That priority of getting those stories done to get that feature epic done is what really determines how long it's going to take to get that feature epic done. So it's really important. The priority has nothing to do with velocity. I just want to make that clarification. Okay, so I'm done that. Fortune Cookie Friday, opening up the super secret box that, and the Agile accountants crushed the cookie. What are we going to talk about today? Whoop. And I got to take the kids out. Someone's coming to get me. You would get a prize. What does it say? You would get a prize and luck draw in the new year. So I get a prize and lucky draw in the new year. Prize and lucky draw in the new year. How would that be in Agile? Maybe at the end of your sprint, because we talked about this before, when you do your retrospective, I used to like to do prizes for people helping to be teammates with other teams. So maybe the luck of the draw at the end of the sprint is that contest I used to give out like little gift cards and things like that. I'm not sure how much you can do that nowadays in the virtual, because you can't mail out stuff, because you shouldn't really have everybody's home address on your team necessarily. Maybe there's stuff that the corporate office would have or something like that. So maybe in the world, when we'll talk about that tomorrow, I want to talk about getting back to office, about giving prizes to people who act as teammates and help other people, and do a random draw at the end of the sprint. So that's where that's going to come from. We talked about that in the past. I used to do those kudo boxes, and then I would pick, one of the kudos out, and then they would get a prize. And I also do with bugs too, but we can talk about that too. So you would get a prize in luck draw in the new year. So that's the prize in the luck draw. All right, take care, enjoy. I got to go take the kids to the bus and get them out of the house. Ring the bell so you get notification like it's on my phone when we put a new episode up. With that, take care, enjoy. I'll see you later. Have a good day. Enjoy.